So do you think that what is happening in the world today in terms of cultural conflict, for example, the terrorism exercised by the extremist Muslims against Western nations, do you think that that's a representation of fundamental cultural clash? Of the very core kind of Muslim principles, for example, of a very conservative society versus a very affluent society? Do you think that rather than being focused on creative cooperation, where the Muslim extremists are focusing on?
I think you force me into having an opinion or expressing an opinion on things which, well, let's say so, I have an opinion, of course, and at the same time I know that the not yet have an opinion because it's so complicated. But yes, there is something, I believe, like a clash of cultures. But well, I say the thing is complicated. Take the simple demographic factor. There is, in Arabian countries at present, a surplus of young males, unemployed young males. They are ready for action. This is not culture in the sense in which we consider culture. It's simply the fact that there is a population group for which aggression becomes easy. But this population group must have reasons for aggression. It must have a target. Now, why should we be the target? I told you yesterday, we talked about it. But before I come to that, I would say there are, of course, again, reasons which are cultural, but not in a systematic sense. It's economic poverty. The big discrepancy between rich on the one side and poor on the other. There is certainly also a political aspect to it, of people who want power for the sake of power, not for the sake of culture. All these factors play together, but in order to motivate people, you need cultural factors. And among these cultural factors, I believe that on at least, well, no, on both sides, religion plays an important role. And that I have to qualify again. Yesterday I said it's the opposition between human rights and the law of God. Human rights are not the same as the commandment given by God. And what we consider to be a right which can be claimed on in another religious view is not the right we can claim, but is a given which comes to us by the grace of God. We can ask for it, but we can't claim it.
Mm-hmm.
That's and this given by the grace of God is granted by God only if we respect His commandments. And any violation of His commandments abolishes our chances of receiving His grace. Now, what we present to those in many respects is a violation of the commandments of God.
Mm-hmm.
So, if they want to assure themselves of receiving the grace of God, they have to resist what comes from us. It is only by resisting, and by resisting strongly against what we represent, that they can hope to have Allah's or God's grace. And this thing becomes complicated because on our side there is also a kind of religion which is not Christianity, but which is the religion of modern times, believe in liberty, believe in profiteering, believe in the right for pleasure, and so on. I mean, this all which is part of the liberal society, in positive and in negative ways, is a belief, it's an ideology, and in this sense it has a religious quality.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a clash of religions more than cultures. Because religions englobe very different cultures. So you see, if you ask me what is my opinion, it's a complicated one. It's not a simple.
Right. And it's interesting that when you first mentioned that, you said there are a lot of demographics that have contributed to that clash, and one key element being that in many Muslim communities there are a great deal of, there are many, many young men who are unemployed,
Yeah.
have a lot of energy, but no place to direct it, and feel a lot of frustration.
And who have to be motivated, and the motivation comes from these ideological sources.
The Bin Ladens.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Bin Laden, I don't want to personalize it. It comes from this basic belief that their religious culture is so basically threatened that their personal happiness, their personal goal of eternal happiness is destroyed. And this ideological motivation doesn't come from Bin Laden.
Right.
It comes from, there are so and so many imams who teach the same thing, and family fathers who teach the same thing, and mothers.